Yeah, you got to prepare. So 25 Republican states have signed on to defend Texas, as a lot of Republicans would probably say, is the band's getting back together. It's time to get the band. Anybody calling for civil war, by the way, is a little wacky. You don't want to go shooting your fellow Americans because they feel differently politically. If you're at that point where you want that, it's time to sort of take a step away. However, what I will say is the following. You're going to hear a lot of shit. Do you even know anything about what's going on? Or do you want me to?
No, no,
Okay.
I'm just a big ZZ Top fan.
So there have been, 10 million, 9+ million illegals that have flooded in under Biden after
Yeah.
the illegals had stopped coming in under Trump. And the reason that happened is he did everything he could to allow it to happen. So as a simple example, because people will be like, what are you talking about? It's the same thing. They sold $300 million worth of wall for $2 million. So they had wall to build that had already been purchased, $300 million worth of steel. Steel's expensive.
Yeah.
They sold it. They were like, we're not going to put that up. They sold it for $2 million. Every state that's tried to put up their own barriers, Arizona tried to put up shipping containers. The Biden administration sued them, said, you can't, we're in charge of the border. Texas tried to put up floating barriers. The Biden administration sued them. They created an app for illegals. So the illegals register with the app. The app is everything you need. You don't need an ID for the app. You just put in whatever name you want, whatever reason you want, and you get it all. You check in. They give you $2,200, $2,200 across the border. They give you a ticket anywhere. They'll tell you where to go unless you know where you're going to go. If you bring a kid, you don't have to prove it's yours. If you almost all the people coming are military age men. There was a guy the other day who was a terrorist convicted, a weapons dealer that came across. Doesn't matter. Chinese military's coming across. They're military doing military routines like drinking blood of chickens. Doesn't matter. They're coming into everything's wide open.
Fucking invasion.
It's an invasion, and they're shipping them all over the country. They're literally have papers telling them where to go, and they'll be paid there. So these sanctuary cities will put them up for a year, 6 months, pay them money, pay their expenses, give them food. In the meantime, our veterans are on the street, dying, like fucking freezing. Doesn't matter. Now they're asking New Yorkers to give up their homes. So it's an invasion. So what Texas said, they said, fuck this, enough. We're laying down barbed wire in this park. The park is a state park. It's actually a city park, Eagle Pass. And the Biden administration said, we're going to sue you because you're stopping this invasion. And we love this invasion. And so they sued, and it went up, and it got a stay from the second highest court. They said the government's wrong. It needs to be heard further, but the government can't pull this wire down because the Biden administration was literally cutting all the wire, opening up and welding open the fucking wall and letting people in to process them. And by the way, they're giving them court dates, which is under the law. They're giving them court dates for 2031. So these people are guaranteed to be here for at least 7-8 years. So there's no real, it's all, hey, we have to give them a court date. It's under law. Let's push
fucking chess, man. It's a chess game.
They've found every loophole and they're exploiting every loophole. So with that being said, the Supreme Court looked at it and said, hey, we're basically going to stay the order from the lower court, let it be reheard till it's reheard by a real court. The federal government is in charge of the border. And Amy Coney Barrett and Rogers, who sucks dick, said, yeah, we side with the Democrat. Rogers is such a liberal piece of shit. So he sided with the Democrats, and Amy Coney Barrett did too, because she goes, you know what? It's federal property. They own the wall. That would make sense, Amy, but it's not federal property, you cunt. It's fucking a goddamn city park. So they had already abjected their duties at the wall, came over and said, this park is ours. We need it for border. And Amy goes, that makes sense. Yeah, idiot, stupid. And by the way, it may end up causing a civil war. So her idiocy. This is what happens when you put a woman in charge of court. This is what happens when you put a woman.
Yes.
Let me give you the keys to drive. She tries to fucking parallel park. She slams into the fucking car behind her. And that's what she did. She parallel parked on this. She slammed right in. She didn't think. I didn't see it. I didn't think. I didn't know.
Now she's out there trying to get her husband in a fight.
Not that they're trying to start. Yeah, she's going to start yelling. No, it's your fault. It's your fault. I'll kick your fucking ass. And the guy's going, hey, calm down. Then she throws the first punch, and now the husband's facing an army of 10. So in Texas, it's kind of like that. Amy starts a fight. And what Texas does is they go, you know what? The Supreme Court didn't give us an order. They didn't give us an order. We already declared an invasion. It doesn't say we have to pull down our own barriers. It says the federal government can pull down the barriers, continue if they want. So we're
Oh, so
going to
bring
keep
it on, motherfucker.
so they're going to keep doing their job. Bring it on, motherfucker. So they're laying things down. All the 25 Republican governors that said, we support you. This is enough. You're doing this shit on purpose. So they're sending people in, and the federal government is pretending that they are now ignoring a Supreme Court order, which would be true if they were to say you can't pull things down, because the Supreme Court didn't order them to do anything. They just said, hey, wait till this is heard, basically. Wait till it's actually heard before we, impose this last thing. And you can't, which means the government technically can remove, but they didn't tell Texas, you can't do anything. They didn't say shit. So Texas is like, no, this is our turf. We're going to continue. So they're building up. And now the Biden administration said, you have 24 hours or else we're going to come in by force. And they're threatening to come take over and federalize the Texas National Guard. So basically they're saying we're coming in by force if you don't stop, which, by the way, is political suicide for Biden. So right now he either looks like a pussy or it's drawing all this attention, because keep in mind, for 3 years, Democrats have told us nothing was happening at the border. So they've said, yeah, they're under oath, the border is secure. Every John Pierre, the border is secure. Everything's secure. There's no problem. It's just political. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's Trump's fault. They literally put together a bill, and they haven't released the language. They released it to the media and said, hey, push this. Probably not even written. And they said, this is a bill. They found a Republican. They probably have fucking a poodle that had to do it. So this is a bipartisan agreement. They said, we'll give you $1 million. We're not going to release that video of you ass raping a poodle. Your name's on it. Okay, it is. So this guy is now, ass raped a poodle is now on there. And they said, this is a bipartisan bill that will provide money to fix the problem. Mind you, it's 3 years in, the problem has been going on. They haven't done a goddamn thing as kids get raped and fucking fentanyl, hundreds of thousands are dying and people are dying in the river. They haven't cared a bit. But now we have this idea that's not even a bill yet, because nobody's read it. We have this idea, and Republicans are blocking it, so it's their fault. The thing that was never an issue for 3 years, and now the public knows about it, is now Republicans' fault for two things.
Blocking.
One, they're ignoring a Supreme Court order, which never existed because the Supreme Court order never happened. And number two, that Republicans are blocking the solution when they don't even have the contents released to know whether it is a good solution or isn't a good solution. What has been released is a disaster. It says we can bring in 5,000 people every day. That's what's been released. 5,000 people a day get work permits, get licenses, etc. So that's 1.825 million people a year.
I might leave and sneak back in.
They're in San Diego. They're teaching people to do that. So you come across, because you can just put your own name in. So they put in another name. They go back across. There's people making $8,800 a month, doing it 4 times a month, once a week, coming right back in 2,200, coming right back in 2,200. So they're teaching them that on Mexican or Latin radio stations of how to make, 2,200 a month, 2,200 every time you come across. You could do it once a week, $8,800 a month, and our dumbasses are paying for it. Currently, the United States, you and me, we're paying $1 billion a day to house, feed, and handle illegal immigrants, and the price is climbing exponentially. So that's where we are. So right now, we're actually in a position where we're as close to a civil war and as close to a world war as you and I have ever been, period. It's all very exciting.